Newly active substances, just so I'm clear on the definition, if somebody has a drug and they make it a single-day therapy, a prolonged release, if you will, as opposed to a QD, does that qualify as a new, so it's just a truly new drug?
Yeah, it has to be first, time and first exposure to humans of this molecule, basically.
Got you. Secondly, just to follow up on what Mr. Dingle asked about, man, if you're inspecting dog food factories a little bit over a year, but only going abroad every 9, couldn't you redirect resources from the dog food factory, saying that as a pet owner, and of course it's a little, it sounds tongue-in-cheek, but actually it's a very serious question.
Well, the Congress directs resources to drug programs separately from foods or veterinary medicine, so they're all separated out, and we have to expend those based on the appropriation. Okay.
So would it be, not to put you in a box, but if Congress redirected some of the funds currently used for dog food, as an example, metaphorically, if you will, to inspecting companies abroad to make sure they have good clinical or good manufacturing practices, would that be a reasonable thing?
Well, I think then that's a trade-off that the Congress has recently asked FDA to accomplish a great deal more tasks under food safety with their new food safety bill, and those inspectors are all busy trying to accomplish those activities. So we are trying to redirect domestic inspection resources to do overseas inspections, and that has been the main effort that we are working on.
So then, to follow up that, one thing you could do within the silo almost of funding is, because I've had domestic drug manufacturers complain, listen, I'm checked every 6 months, and yet my competition is checked every 9 years.
Right.
It isn't a competitive issue for them, it's a drug safety issue. So could you elaborate a little bit more on that occurring? Because it seems a very reasonable approach.
Yes, I think that we've been trying to move in that direction. That's a desirable thing to do, to have a uniform level of inspection around the world that is also risk-based, okay? So the riskiest plants should receive the most frequent inspections, whether they're in the U.S. or whether they're in China or elsewhere. It's been logistically very difficult to accomplish this.
Now again, just to pursue, it just seems so logical. I mean, you're going to go buy a ticket to go to Bangalore and inspect the plant there. Why would that be logistically complicated instead of going to New Jersey? Granted, New Jersey is a train ride and Bangalore is a trip, but nonetheless, it does seem as if, maybe it's a prejudice, that probably the people in New Jersey have better practices, or one that we trust more than maybe somebody just a startup in Bangalore.
Yes, the inspections are done by our field organization. It's not a part of the Center for Drugs, right? And they have a union, and they have agreements about foreign travel and how much you can get people to go and do things overseas.
You mean there is a union agreement which is keeping us from being able to inspect foreign manufacturers?
Partly. That's my understanding.
You mean the union agreement is keeping us from inspecting these more frequently than every 9 years?
Well, the work conditions, it's just very difficult. In my understanding, I don't supervise that organization, to shift resources to have a larger number of foreign inspections done.
I have to admit, as a physician practicing, it gives me great concern for the safety of my patients that is what's limiting our ability.
We'd be happy to get back to you in a more complete explanation.
Please, because that is so incredibly troubling. Which union is that?
Pardon me?
Which union is that?
NTEU.
Okay. I only have 50 minutes left. Let me gather my thoughts after that. If we had not had that union agreement, would the Hepburn tragedy have been avoided?
I think it would still be difficult to move people from their established inspection routine and get them to travel repeatedly overseas. But we are moving in that direction.
It may be difficult with the current employees, but it sounds like if that is where the problem is, then we just need to find employees that will go, correct?
Well, there is also a problem with resources. I don't want to understate that, okay, that it's going to take more people to do all these inspections overseas than it would. It's not as efficient as inspecting a certain number of plants in a certain geographic area.
I accept that, but on the other hand, if you're going to find out where the problems are And if we can trace them, the bulk of them to these companies overseas, manufacturing plants overseas, it just seems that's where you should be looking.
Well, we definitely should go where the money is. But I would say that we've certainly found manufacturing problems domestically recently. Some of them have been high publicity problems, and we have to maintain good coverage of those firms as well.
I accept that. On the balance, what would be the % of the domestic versus foreign that have resulted in deaths?
I don't think we have that kind of data.
Okay. I yield back. Thank you.